Hey everyone, this is the Kubeflow community meeting for the 3rd of March 2026. As normal, we're a CNCF project. Please follow the CNCF code of conduct. Be nice to each other. As always, we love to both explain how you join this meeting if you're watching the recording and have no idea, and how to join our other meetings. So the first thing you have to know is go to kubeflow.org. And then you can click community on the top right, and then you can scroll down and find the list of all the meetings. So this is the calendar button here under community calendar. You click that, you go to the LFX dashboard once it loads. And then once you see the list of meetings, not every meeting is every week, so be wary of that. The full list of meetings is above here in the Google Doc. And sometimes they have the link as well to their meeting. You can click on a specific one, say this one, click register, and then you will get an invite if you put your email here and click a request invite, and that means you'll get notified if the meeting gets cancelled or moved. You don't lose track of it. If you really want to, you can add every single iCal event as an iCal to your calendar, or you can just subscribe to the ones you want. Probably the easiest. Also, the whole history of all the YouTube playlists are here. I think we do need to go through some of the community ones and add them again. They're technically on. It's all automated, but we have to click the button to publish. We should assign someone to do that and link them under here. Like, I think last week we didn't upload. Yeah, we didn't. Okay, cool. So there's also a YouTube video that explains how to do this. Please join the meetings you want. Mostly this meeting is for the community and the other meetings are for specific components. Additionally, if you want to talk with people and help develop or just ask questions, we also have a community CNCF-based Slacks. And so there's lots of different channels here for each component, including an announcements one. Just everyone should join that one if they can, and contributors. And so because it's the CNCF Slack, you have to join the specific channel. So the easiest way to do that is either searching in the Slack thing, which can be a bit hard, or just clicking this button and then clicking join, because it will redirect you to the right place, hopefully. Okay, cool. Anyone want to say hi who's new to the project? We don't have a lot of time today, so just keep it short, but there might be some new people who want to say hi. Anyone's welcome to unmute and wave and say hi or type in chat who's new to the project. If not, then we can move right along. I see lots of people, but anyway, okay, let's keep going. Okay, so yep. Okay, release update. So we're getting very close. We should have cut a release or RC already, but we got a little bit delayed there. So Tarek, do you want to give an update?
Yeah, so there are some components that still we haven't done the sync or the manifest for them. So we're still waiting for that. So the green components they are already synced, but missing like for example the notebooks, the dashboard, trainer, mode registry, Spark operator, and SDK. They are so we hopefully do this sync during this week. So the RC1 maybe it will not be or was not in 2nd of March, so it will be probably some other time during this week instead. So that's the delay.
By the way, this SDK version is it's confusing how we define whether it's target version or not, but.
Yeah, I mean, so the versions that are in the table here, those are the target versions.
I don't think this one's been cut, right? Because I couldn't put it in under.
No. Andre, maybe.
Not yet. We're still working on it.
That's cool. That's fine. I won't cut the final. Just tell me when do you think you'll have it cut?
Yeah, so 0.4 will have the Spark Connect support, and I need to do some testing after the Tarek PR. So probably sometime this or next week.
It's fine if it takes up because I normally cut the final images quite close to the final release, just because.
Okay.
Just because it's best to just pull in whatever versions are the best.
Do you wanna take 0.3 for now and see then update it later?
Does it have any weird dependencies? And we'll talk about this offline. We'll talk about this offline. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, just tell me once if you think you're gonna get it in, please tell me, and then I'll make sure that it gets into the image for notebooks. I mean, sorry. Okay, cool. So yeah, dashboard. Sorry, Tarek, we interrupted you. I'm sorry. You keep going.
No, no worries. Yeah. I mean, for and the dashboard, so probably today. Yes.
Yes,
Sorry.
sorry, yeah, for the dashboard. Yeah, so I'll cut an RC. Well, it's not going to be the target version, but I'll cut an RC. Yes.
Yeah. So yep, and then model registry. I think the cadence is covering to be this week. So so I'll need to check maybe with Matthew or John from model registry.
Yeah, I think Friday we'll have the release. If not, should be early next week.
Yeah, no, I think it would be better if
Yes.
in a meeting.
And then for the Spark operator, there is an RC 0 for 2.5.0, or at least like a commit, not an RC such. But yeah, I'm tracking that as well. So yeah, once the manifests are ready in the upstream repos, then we will do the sync. And then for the platform components, we we upgraded Istio, WASP to proxy, Dex, and Cert Manager. So they are.
Did you go to the
green.
latest LTS for Cert Manager?
No. I think it's no. I don't think. I think 1.19.4 is.
Is there a particular dependency on something from the non-LTS version, or?
Not that I'm aware of. I don't think there is like hard dependencies on.
Or maybe they changed. Can someone else confirm if the LTS thing's still happening with Cert Manager? Something weird happened in that community, right? I'm not. We should just check, yeah, because there was a period where they had an LTS branch, but I don't know if they're still doing that. So.
No, I mean the latest one is 1.19.4 for the Cert Manager, so they don't have like specifically an LTS.
They used
branch,
to. That's what I want to say. They used to. Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Okay. I don't know if I think they may have stopped doing that, but yeah.
But we try to like aim for the latest version, and then we run the end-to-end tests and see. So that's for the components, and then I checked also with Julius regarding the community version. So we will try like the aim would be like 1.35. So we will try to cover from 133 to 135 in the CI/CD pipelines.
And just to confirm, that just means that it will run, not that we're actually going to use, because 135 introduces significant features to Kubernetes, mainly around DRA.
Yeah, I don't think that like, so how we do that is that we basically create the kind cluster, and then we try to install the like all the components and see how that's basically the validation against the Kubernetes version.
Yeah, okay. Because like for notebooks v2, for example, we're not planning to, well, Alpha 0 won't have it, but in the future we'll add support for DRA, which would be the primary thing that you'd want from 135, which is a new way of allocating GPUs.
Yes.
So, yeah. It's kind of important for us to focus on. I think it's up.
I mean, yeah, I think soon we will also have the GPU runners in the OCI. So that will also, maybe we will try to update also like switch maybe from kind to NV kind or something, so that we can test
or I
this
mean, just
GPU.
What I'm meaning is more like, say, pipelines needs to have a primitive for DRA and notebooks needs to have a primitive for DRA. These kind of, it's not just label requests anymore.
Okay.
That's more what I'm saying. Like, it might require changes to the code. Even Spark operator, because you can use GPU accelerated Spark. Anyway, so any other things that are blocking us? So again, I know I'm blocking partially, so I'm going to, after this meeting, get those cut for these ones. Let's try and cut the first RC with just these two for notebooks, by the way. Like the Alpha 0, we're waiting a couple, we've got a couple things we want to put in so we don't accidentally release something which hurts people's clusters. So.
Yeah, that we can do. But yeah, for the rest of the working groups, it would be great if we can have an RC during this week, so that we can cut the RC from RC1 from the manifests.
What's our plan for testing and all this stuff?
Yeah. So there was a lot of discussion in with that regard, that should we depend on the distribution testing or feedback directly from the community and also our automated testing, because like from previous releases, we saw that like it's mostly the distribution testing happens actually after the release. Not so many distribution owners run testing for an RC. So we mainly depend on like direct feedback from community, or we try to cover as much as possible in the automated testing in the manifest repo.
Okay. So what else is necessary to get to a release before KubeCon?
I would say RC1 this week or early next week is a must to be able
Isn't-
to like.
So can we agree that we're just going to cut it on a certain day, regardless of what's in it, or? And then we can cut an RC2 next week, you know. But the only ones that we need to get in are dashboard and notebooks, because dashboard is the actual one we absolutely have to get in, but notebooks probably as well. Because this one changes things about the structure, whereas these other ones, unless I'm wrong, we should check with each of these components. Do they change their manifests at all? So, did they?
For the Spark operator, you mean?
Or for either of these ones that are not? Well, SDK obviously doesn't have manifests, but these two, right?
No, I think no, like Spark operator, there was some discussion to like and not use manifest, but only release Helm. But in the manifest repo sync, we only get or generate the manifest from the Helm chart anyway. So, but model registry, I haven't heard anything about that.
And there's no breaking changes though in the manifest for the Spark operator. Well, there's no planned one. That's more what I was saying.
Not breaking change as I know.
And then the trainer, Andre, any no breaking changes on your manifest? What was the previous version? Was it 2.2 or 1? Or what?
Link to do 0 in Julius here. Julius not on the call, right?
No.
Yeah, so yeah, we need to sync them after we have to do 2. We haven't got to do 2 yet. I think it will be now. Yeah.
Is there any breaking manifest changes though? You know, because would it be fine to cut an RC1 before that? Because like for dashboard, it's like breaking change, so it would be silly. But for
I think it should be fine. It should be fine.
In 1.11, it was trainer 2.1.0.
Okay. Cool. So I guess that's probably a question for you release team to vote on, but we should aim towards cutting an RC, I think, because we planned to do it on Monday, but we didn't actually do it. So I think the only thing we should wait for is dashboard, and then
I'll sync.
Yeah.
Yeah, please go.
No, I'm about to say this will also be a breaking change because it's slightly different structure. It's not as significant a change for notebooks V1, but it's actually it's more like a manifest repo structure breaking change in this one, not a actual manifest change, because we're pulling from the new notebooks repo.
Yeah, I think for making a decision about like the specific date to do like the RC1 anyway, I'll need to check with Julius for that. So most likely it would be maybe this week would be like a deadline anyway, but I'll confirm that with Julius.
Cool. Okay. Anyone else got anything they need to say about the release for 2603? Any worries? Any concerns? Blockers? Correct. Anyone else?
No, nothing from my side. Maybe
Okay,
just
cool.
for the 111. So the blog has been released already. So that's published in the blog.kubeflow.org. Yes, that one. And then for the video, so Valentina created a recording for that. So we're trying to get in touch with Matteo to help in releasing the video as well. And then we will start the promoting for it along the blog as well.
We might want to update this page with a link to the blog.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, perfect. Great. Thank you, Matthew.
Cool. And did the video get published or not? I
No,
guess-
not yet. So the raw recording Valentina has created, and we are syncing with Matthew regarding that.
Cool. Thank you. Anything else about releases, or we should move on because we've got lots of things to talk about?
Nothing from release.
Anyone
I think.
else? Raise. Any leads? Got any concerns? Okay. Cool. Okay, Fossa. We had some outages, and I think John wanted to talk about it.
Yeah, real quick. I'll try not to spend too much time on this. But between the outages and we've had some friction in the past where, it doesn't pass and we need to find someone who has access to go in and click rerun. With the outages last week for a while, we couldn't even click rerun intermittently. So I did want to discuss any possible adjustments we might be able to make. I know the faucet checks are needed for like CNCF graduation. For example, for us on the model registry component. But as I understand, we could, in theory, adjust exactly how and when we're running them. So a couple of ideas I had were like, can we maybe move the checks to run on the main branch on a schedule so that if I have a PR that doesn't even touch dependencies, maybe adds a couple code comments, that isn't potentially slowed down or blocked, and or allow approvers to override in specific circumstances with it made clear that like that's just if it's if it's not a valid failure, the API is broken or something, or anything else. So we can dive into the weeds and discuss more, maybe in the Slack channels. But if anyone has comments or thoughts on if these might be possible mitigations, that would be great to hear.
So while we were investigating this issue, we did figure out that there is a way to. So the two things we did that will have improved your situation even when there's no outage is that it should succeed if after 15 minutes now if it's done nothing, because in our experience it never takes that long. So if it's going to succeed. So you know what I mean? So but that only works if their service actually sends the I timed out notification to the GitHub. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The other factor is we can probably dramatically reduce the load we're putting on the service by there's like a fossa ignore file effectively, which says so you could pretty much say that as you exactly. I think honestly what you're saying either way we should do is there's no reason to rescan dependencies if the dependency files don't change. If the ones that actually might, because most things have an npm lock or a go mod or you know what I mean. Like there's no. So at least that probably. And the other thing you mentioned about regularly doing, that is kind of hard. Not just for policy reasons, but I don't know how. There's like two modes of operation in Fossa. Either they manage the builds for you, and then scan what ended up being built, or you manage them for you in GitHub. You know what I mean? So you can use them as a GitHub action runner. So doing them on a regular sync, the main concern I have is obviously that merging anything in with a bad license is kind of dangerous, but also from a legal perspective. But also we have to change the way we run it to do that. Like I don't know what else. So I guess there's two questions, which is how to make sure that when something happens, we have a workaround like what I did for notebooks and dashboard. And then the second one is how can we make it less likely to have problems when they're not having an outage, I guess. Is that what you're saying?
Right. Yeah. And I was wondering if like running it as a GitHub action could be helpful for some of this. But the fossa ignore definitely something I want to look at. And we'll mention if whatever we can figure there might be useful for other people.
Yeah.
But
Otherwise, it's not.
Yeah, so I agree. If we want to try out doing it with, so I don't know. Yeah, if their service is down, it's not going to make a difference. If the, well, I don't know actually. Will it make a difference? We need to check that. Well, it's hard to check, but you know what I'm saying. But like, is there GitHub Action one? It's probably still not going to work, I would suspect.
At
But that one actually might
least
be
with,
harder to disable. Thinking about it.
yeah, at least someone it might be easier to rerun it. Someone doesn't have access to Fossa, but yeah, that's another story. I don't need to derail it. But yeah,
So
let's keep discussing. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry for interrupting. Just two suggestions. Like, John, if you want to also explore how we can ignore those checks in Pro, that also would be helpful, right? Because then on failures, you can just do LGTM approve and merge the PRs without waiting for successful, right? Run.
Say it again. How we can ignore them where?
Yeah, so do you know, we use Pro. So Pro is
Prow.
the
Oh yeah.
Pro, like it's CI, which we use to merge PRs, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
right now it waits for all the checks to be complete, but it might be a way for us to ignore Fossa checks there. So if you can explore if that is possible, we can enable this for all the repos and then just maintainers will be responsible for it. Yep.
I don't think it's going to be possible to ignore it, but we can enable the override plugin. But right now, the override plugin requires you to be. There's a slash override command where it's very hard to figure out how you write it. So normally you just write slash override and then the bot says that's not valid, and then here's a list of valid ones. What it does is that the reason why it's blocking the PR is because Prowl will not merge a PR that has a like in-flight check, if you know what I mean.
Right.
And so what Fossa is doing is it's got a webhook that triggers when the PR is made or changed, so what I did to fix the issue over the weekend was disable Fossa even knowing that the PR had opened by turning off its webhook, right? So, but then what it does is once it receives the notification, new PR or PR updated, Fossa puts a pending check on that commit for the 4 things that it checks. Sometimes it puts the ones that it doesn't even check. I don't understand that, but whatever. And then Prowl says, oh, there's a pending check. I'm not going to do anything. But there is a function in Prowl for this exact purpose called override, I think, which lets you force the state of a particular check, because in the end, it's just an API call from GitHub's perspective to succeed, you know what I mean? Or something else, to succeed or fail. So the issue is just that we would need to create a GitHub, we'd need to assign, I think you can do it by GitHub team, you know what I mean, who's allowed to do it for each repo, right? So I think that, and so Andre, that I think is the answer to your exact question, right? I think it is the correct behavior for it not to merge a PR that's got an in-flight check.
Yeah, but I mean, like, if there is a way for us to figure out if we can configure it to override it or, like just forcefully ignore this check, that will be helpful because maintainers are still responsible, right, to approve PRs.
I wonder if there's a feature of Prowl. So the one way we could do it is we could have, if Prowl doesn't already support this, like a label over, like an ignored checks label. You know what I mean? It's a bit dangerous, but, I wonder if, because historically Prowl did sometimes allow merging if the check on GitHub Actions wasn't marked as required. But for the checks that are not coming from GitHub Actions, I think it always assumes they're required.
That's exactly what I'm hitting, because I'm an approver in model registry, but I still couldn't get past it. I'm not a repo admin, so.
Have you tried to put these checks to non-required, or it is not possible in settings?
On Fossa, so that would be a request for Fossa, I think.
Part of
No, I'm just talking about GitHub, GitHub settings, right? Just ignore these checks completely, right? Not make them not required for the branch.
So that's only a case for if it's a GitHub action.
Okay.
Right. So I think someone else should confirm, but I believe there's a setting in GitHub Actions called required or not required. Like in GitHub Actions, there's a separate branch protection setting, but I think there is also within the GitHub Action YAML spec, there is one which says like, I think I'm maybe hallucinating.
I think you're right, and that's why I was wondering, like, okay, could turning this into a GitHub action make sense? But if we can override it, that also works. Yeah.
We should verify that I'm not hallucinating an API like an LLM. Uh, and if I'm not, then that would probably be a good solution you should test. You know what I mean? Like run. I know that, but obviously it would be nice if Fossa just didn't have this problem because then we don't have to worry about it. But uh,
Yeah, I think switching this to GitHub Actions and making this non-required, maybe it's a good solution.
because yeah, I don't see a way that Fossa at the other side could do it. Also, another thing that I did is I changed it so that only by the CNCF definitions, critical vulnerabilities, critical license errors will actually block the PR. So only ones that like, oh, you've done a GPL like license or something, you know. Like, I guess there's 3 parts to check. First is we can probably reduce, because I think we are part of the problem. Like with Fossa, we are massively DDoSing them. I think with the amount of commits we have. So I think reducing the amount of runs, either way, even if we either approach, we should probably do this, right? Where we don't run the check unless it's actually a change that could have possibly changed a dependency. Seems reasonable. Then the next one is we can't make the one that's currently there not required. I don't see how we would do that. So we should explore if it's possible to make a non-required check in the first place. You know, like that, like we could just, it's a little bit hard to test Prowl because Prowl only runs in our repos, but just check, let's just check that. So check if it's possible to make a not required, actually, and then we've got one other workaround that we can do even in the shorter term. Override plugin for check state. That in a GitHub action. Next steps. If it, yeah. And then the override plugin for that. And then what's the other one that we wanted to do was make sure that we have a list of people, who can disable the current connection in the case of an outage. So I think for now, if that happens again, just ping me and or Andre. So for now, Andre, are you okay with that?
I don't, so sorry, like, so for which item?
So what I'm saying is, as a temporary measure, like I disabled it
Yeah,
for
yeah,
notebooks
yeah.
and dashboard, but the way I did it, Andre, is I disabled the webhook, which means that I can't
Okay,
easily re-enable it either. I
yeah,
would,
yeah, I see.
yeah. So it's
I mean, I understand. I don't know, like, if I don't understand their outage because for trainer, for example, like when we have this stack, in a stack mode, I just, click the rerun and it works for us. But for
so
other repos, for
normally
some
that's
reason, yeah,
fine,
it was
right? When they
broken.
had a full outage is what we were saying.
Okay, okay,
But
okay.
that hopefully
I
isn't a
still,
common
yeah,
occurrence.
yeah.
Yeah,
Again, yeah. Go
we
ahead,
had
John,
some
sorry,
that
go ahead.
were getting stuck and there was no run button. Like sometimes there would be, sometimes there wasn't. So, but thank you guys. This is a huge help. Appreciate it.
So yeah, I think the fact that the rerun button exists normally is fine. If this becomes a pattern where they have outages, that's a big problem. Of course, I think this ignore thing will also reduce our load that we're putting on them quite substantially. So I think we might actually help them by doing this one. So does anyone do you want to investigate that one, John? And
Yeah,
I don't think it's
definitely.
called an ignore. Maybe it's a YAML file at the root of the
It
repo.
was
It's
like,
something like that. Yeah.
.fossa YAML, I think. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Anyone else got any comments about this? As like next steps seem reasonable. We should have this override plugin for admins either way.
So, sorry, like, is it like the option for the most straightforward one, and we should just try this out?
So the
Option
most,
4.
well, so we've already made a massive solution for all the repos, which is that when the
Okay,
thing's working properly, you shouldn't have to wait more than 15 minutes. Either way.
okay, okay.
Yeah, I still want a way to override it if their API is broken and I am bumping a dependency, right?
So you mean you want to actually trigger it, or you want to fake it to be success?
Probably just override, right? If I know it's like a micro version bump or something.
Interesting. If it's timing out, you mean, or if they
If they have an outage again.
Okay. Okay. Let's
Well, maybe that's a bad idea. Just
Yeah. Yeah, I put it so that I think the current state of the configs is better than before. Anyway, let's move on. Let's talk about this offline.
Yeah.
So I think these 4 steps are reasonable. We should investigate the power override plugin for that purpose, like you're saying, but that would also affect every other check. So let's figure out if that's even possible to do, because this override plugin was made for Kubernetes as like a super admin override situation, you know? So like it may kind of only be possible to give to admins. I don't know. Anyway, okay. Anyone else got anything? Okay. So, how do you say your name? Sorry.
Saad.
Saad.
Yeah. No.
So AI usage policy. Obviously, there's no formal agreement yet, but I think we had a discussion last week about making a policy.
Yes.
And you've
We
raised a
agreed
PR.
last. Yeah, I've been asked to raise a PR, and we just started like initiating the policy. The items are not final, it's up for discussion, so people are welcome to give their feedback, their thoughts, what we think we should be including, we should rule out, and so on. Yeah, sure. I can give an overview of the policy. The policy is like trying to cover a little bit of like 3 or 4 pillars. The first one is like accountability. If you raise a code, you have to have human in the loop. Just don't generate code and just submit it without like reviewing or looking at your code. You're responsible. Like you have the full responsibility for your code, whether you wrote it yourself or you generated this code. So you have the total ownership of the code. Then the code shouldn't break like the Apache 2 or the developer certificate of origin. You have to always have that, because this is like I think required by Kubeflow community. As far as I understand, you have to have the -s when you do git commit. And transparency, also you have to disclose like if you're using AI tools or you generate your code. So you have to include that in the commit message, like generated by, assisted by, or I think Christian also suggested like co-authored by. That would be good because we can look and understand like how this code is generated, which tool was used, and so on. Verification, people are required to verify their code. You have to test it, lint it, make sure it is good to be committed upstream. Don't just like generate the code, yeah, a functionality works, and submit it, or even like don't without submitting functionality. That would be even worse. Explainability, you have to be able to understand your code. Like if a reviewer or a contributor ask you like what this part does or what you're doing here, you should be able to explain the code that was generated or like was co-authored by a tool. So don't just like submit it and say, yeah, it works and it does what we're looking for. You have to be able to just stop and say, yeah, here we do this, we do that, and so on. Quality standards, like that gives the maintainers to like if we feel there is too much generated or like there's a bulk of code that's generated, the contributor doesn't understand like what's going on here, we could just like close a PR, or we don't have a context, or we don't want these kind of fully AI or autonomous AI generated PRs that nobody looked at, nothing. It has to be kind of like reviewed, and that gives us the authority to kind of close, well, gives that maintainers the authority to close PRs that they feel like, okay, it's very low effort, it's fully generated by AI, and there is a lot of stuff in there. It also like all the code that's generated by AI should adhere to security and best practices, which developed or like should be available somewhere in the Kubeflow community. So don't just generate any code and say, okay, don't assume code generated by AI tools is secure from like round zero. You have to review it, make sure it's secure before you submit it as well. And the last one is a community etiquette. We're trying to discourage people from using AI in reviews. So if somebody's reviewing your code, you have to respond in person. You have to understand their point, and you have to yourself respond to that. You could use the help of AI to review to kind of like understand the PRs and review it a little bit, but you in the end have to go and put your feedback in there. And we appreciate the value, and we appreciate and value the human-to-human contribution and collaboration. Um, yeah. The last one, I think we could also like request the AI generated code to be refactored or further explained if the intent is not clear. That's still part of the community that people should agree on. These are the main things that I thought of. There could be like some of them might be overlapping a little bit. Some of them might be clear, but it just like needed to break it into again, accountability, you own your code, transparency. We know that it's, you admit that you have used some assistance. Quality, it needs to meet some quality standards, and community etiquette, you have to accept that the community could reject or accept your code based on like some aspects that's defined by the policy. If you violate it, when we can just say it's not going to be accepted if you don't understand it, and so on. Any feedback, any ideas?
I love I think we do need to make it a bit. This is maybe too much text. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like I think that's my first feedback. Christian, do you want to have a comment?
Yeah, I think the only input that I have is that some of those are like just general expectations outside of AI that people have like vetted their code and they just explicitly apply for the use case of AI. So I think I have a few comments and I agree regarding the length, but I will just put them on the pull request. Thanks a lot for your work already.
Thank you.
Cool. My only kind of feeling is that I feel like. Oh, Andre, you want to go? Yep, Andre had his hand up.
Yeah, you can go first. Actually, trying to limit my questions to the doc, but go ahead, Matthew.
Yeah,
First.
So my main feeling is that I agree with Christian's comment, which is that some of these things are just part of what we would expect a normal human to raise in a PR as well, right? If they raise a PR, they should understand what they're changing. I do think that I'm a little bit worried about this word. Like we don't have this burden currently on random contributors, right? They're not required to maintain. I think the maintenance, yes, but not the that's a response. I think maybe there's a question. I think you have highlighted something we didn't notice before, which is that we probably should have a policy for both contributors and reviewers, right? Right? Like,
Yeah.
I really hadn't even thought about the fact that reviewers would not review, but that's important. I do think the most important one is this one though. Like this is like the P0. Like, and in fact, I think these two, I'm surprised they're not under accountability because they're kind of the same as that. Like,
yeah, like there is an overlap, as I mentioned, I think, between all that kind of the parts of the policy. My suggestion would be like to have a not a fully comprehensive, like not a very lengthy or bigger than this text. Is like you can read it in 1 or 2 minutes. Available as like a file here or markdown file where people can go and read it. And in PRs, we include like a stripped down version of it, which like in PR templates or issue templates, we add like a small version of it where people need to tick box that says, okay, like I have verified this code, like if it was generated by AI or whatsoever, and I take full accountability of this code and so on. And I'm able to explain the code that I'm proposing in this PR, even if it was generated by a AI automated tool. I think that was a suggestion by Akash and DJVJ. I don't know. They were working with me on like formulating this, but I came up with a policy. Anyway,
I feel like these two could replace this top one. And what
okay.
I'm trying to say, like, I feel like,
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, I don't mind. Like,
yeah, we can talk about it more, but like, yeah, okay, Andre, do you want to?
Yeah. So I think a couple of things. So I think first of all, this is great. Thanks a lot, Sat, for working on this. I think we can definitely, improve it over time. I think a couple of topics, right? I try to enumerate them in the community notes. So we see a lot of. So first of all, we see a lot of people use AI to answer the PR threads, right? So I think we should kind of like explain how people should use agents to answer questions, because like what I see right now, what's happening, we ask some question to contributor like, just copy paste this message to Gemini or to Claude, right? And, just, paste the answer from the agent. This is not how this should work. We need to make it clear that if contributors will continue to do this, we either close the PRs or we will move on, because it's really hard to work with such contributors. So this is around the reviewers, right? Yeah, I think also like we need to ensure like, if they use it, it is fine to use AI to, answer some questions, but you need to make sure you kind of, provide a clear statement afterwards. I think we have similar kind of context, like we have similar instructions for Copilot this like today, at least for in a trainer and SDK repo. So Copilot like stop randomly, create huge answers for, for review. So we need to make sure, review is clear and, it's actually explaining the meaning, what we want to talk about. So the second thing around, it does make sense what I'm talking about.
It's hard to.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I don't know if others see this in other repos, I mean KFP or notebooks, because we see this a lot in in China.
Yeah, Yeah, I think this point might be captured by the community etiquette, which is like we appreciate the human to human interactions, and we would value people to just respond by themselves to the PRs. So like don't use automated responses when you give a feedback to a PR.
Yep.
Don't You could use it to understand what's going on in a PR if you don't get it, but don't use that to respond on your behalf in a PR.
Yeah. I think definitely like something like this would be good to, have a clear definition here. I think maybe we should also say that, the first, I think this is what will come up on the meeting from KFP on Wednesday. So they suggest the contributors need to kind of address the Copilot review first before we start processing the PRs, especially contributors like who are new to the community. So at least we can see that they understand what they submitted and they understand what changes might be required. Yeah, I kind of like it. Like, what do you think? Does make
Did
sense?
you drop out? Did I drop out or did you?
I think Andrew dropped
Sorry,
a little
again?
bit. Could you repeat?
Yeah, just one second. Can you
I
hear
think
me
what you
now?
said was that they should answer Copilot reviews first. I mean, if a project wants to do that, I mean, sometimes that's not necessary though.
Yeah, but I think what I want to say, and I think you missed like second part. It's like so this has come up on the like the Kubeflow pipelines call. The maintainers discussed this on Wednesday, and what they say, it's maybe good to show some sort of interaction first. Like actually, so contributors they need to understand what they submit, right? I think this first interaction maybe make us as the maintainers clear that contributors know what they work on. So this is why maybe it's a good thing to address the Copilot review first, so at least show some activity on your PR. Because like what we wanna avoid here, that some contributors submit the PRs written by Claude, they can be really good, but at the same time, contributors cannot really work on the like after we leaving some comments, which will just waste our time.
Where it would have made more sense for a maintainer to ask Claude to do it. Yeah, you know what I mean? Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So
we're just
that is why
indirectly working with Claude rather than working with a maintainer. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that is a problem.
Exactly. So maybe that is why addressing the Copilot review first is a good, especially for new people, right? Like we're not talking about people who like on the community every day, right? For the last couple of years, right? But having a good Copilot instruction on every repo, I think this is something what we need, and we have this already.
If we trust people to be transparent about the level of generation they did, and maybe we put it in the PR template, you know what I mean? Like put an X beside the level, high, medium, low, or just like fully autonomous. That helps
I don't.
people, right?
Again, I don't think this is really required. I think more required is like a contributor understand what they submit, right? Because I mean, these days agents they're very good of writing the high quality code, right? And you can have 99% of the code written by agent. It will be very good if you have the good context and a good prompt. It's more about working afterwards, right? That is why, again, I think if a contributor understands what they submit, it's fine to use AI, right?
So I think it's more about, I am not saying it's not okay. Yeah. What I'm more meaning is, this is actually an interesting problem, right? Where this rule here, right? Do not blindly submit AI outputs, right? I think more succinctly what that's saying, like if I generate a mostly AI PR, which I don't really do, but if I did, I would review it as if another person had written it before submitting it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's the key, right? Yeah. Like that we will not be the first. If we just want to work with AI, we can use it ourselves.
Yeah. It's
We're not
actually
going to
a
be
good
the
point.
first
So yeah. I think this is actually, so I saw this on other CNCF project and other projects as well. So you must be the first reviewer who actually review your code, right?
Unless
we should probably
it is your own code. If it's your own code, then we don't. You should look at it.
But I mean,
not the same,
even your code, right? You need to review it, right?
Okay, but I think it's more acceptable for a newer engineer to ask for a review of a maintainer than it is for if they've just asked Claude to do it, Like
so I think having this here, makes sense. And another quick, just quickly, I think so before, opening PR, so I think we also what I see a lot right now, people kind of like starting creating PRs before checking if others are working on the issues already. I don't know if this should be part of this doc or the contributing doc. Like you need to ensure before you starting work on the PR that no one else is working on the issue already, right? And no one else actually assigned the issue. Yeah. Good.
That's probably a general contributing doc and community etiquette part. Like you need to don't jump on like other people issues, just like ask first or request if there is no activity for a certain period of time. maybe you can talk to a maintainer and then get that. But I don't think it has any much stuff to do with an AI contribution policy. I don't know. I feel it's
Yeah,
like
let's
more
add
more
this.
generally.
Yeah.
Another behavior that I've seen people do is raise an issue that's obviously AI generated and then raise a PR immediately using AI against that issue, assuming that it was an accepted proposal, right? Where they're like,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
project needs
So,
this, and then here's a PR to do this. And it's like, what? Okay, what? We didn't even talk about this. Yeah.
yeah, Kristen.
I think some point that we could also highlight, and it's not really specific to AI, but I think the intent of a lot of people is to gain trust or like to be part of an open source project. And pointing out as like the human to human aspect is that they should like they don't actually gain anything from submitting some random pull request. It's just like I got my contribution in, yay. But if they actually want to learn from it and be an accepted member of the community, then they have to provide actual value instead of just like if you, as you already said, if we wanted to ask Claude, we could have done ourselves. So yeah, I think pointing out some of the more why do you want to contribute, and please emphasize on why it's a sensible thing that you're doing, something that we should do. But I have a few more detailed comment that I will just leave over.
I'm also a little bit concerned about this burden here. I'd prefer that we just, I mean, let's make it clear that it's in the description of the PR, for example.
Yeah. Or maybe we can settle on one. I think some tools might just use assisted by or co-authored by. Claude will definitely use co-authored by in its commit messages. Nobody will use generated by, I guess, or mostly.
Yeah,
it's
okay.
an older one.
I mean, however we do it, I think the main thing I want to know when a PR is raised, the thing as a reviewer I want to know is what level of AI assistance was used, you know? Was this a
Why I don't why much do you need to know about this? Like
mainly because let's say a maintainer raises a PR that was mostly AI generated. I want them to be able to do that.
okay. Yeah, but like
but then I want to know how
okay.
reviewing, like if I really trust a person, my level of review might be different, you know? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but I mean, it's hard to say what level of AI it's been generated. Like, I don't think, I mean, again, I don't think it's really necessary. Like, if it's 99% or 80% or like 70%, like you should fully understand your code, like, end to end,
Okay, so I think that's the
100%,
question we
right?
should ask then, which is how much of a
Yeah.
review did you do before raising this?
Yeah, that is why again we should have a statement here. You must review PR before you opening it, right, and upstream. And that is why the second point should be you must address the copilot reviews before we starting work on this. And because this is actually give us some sort of, a visibility that your contributors understand actually what they do, right? So the E2E, CI is passing, right? Copilot review is addressed, even if, some copilot review can be closed, right? If it's not necessary, but at least you understand, like, what you're working on, right?
The Copilot one, I think we should leave that up to the component maintainers, because I don't know if I would even want Copilot reviews on some of PRs, because they're just kind of spammy. But
yeah, but I mean, if you have a good instructions for Copilot, it's actually very useful. Like you should just need to add good instructions there.
I don't want to
Similar
tie
like
that into the policy. That's all I'm saying. I just don't want to tie that into the
Um,
policy. Like,
yeah, I mean, we can make it as optional. If Copilot is enabled, you can. But this, I mean,
well, if any reviewer, and again, in this case, Copilot is a reviewer, makes a comment, you
Yep.
should respond to it authentically, right? That's probably the policy.
yeah. Like you can say like it doesn't make sense, right? It's fine to close them as well. So
That's I think that's the policy though.
yeah.
It's not about Copilot. It's that as much as if you or I did the review, it's the same. Like we expect a
yeah,
response.
yeah. That's right. That's right.
Yeah, and so, but I also want to come back to one thing you mentioned. We only have 5 minutes, so we probably should quickly talk about GSOC. But my concern is that I want to let new contributors learn contributing, right? So it's complete
Yep.
in my mind if the user has generated some of it with AI, but then really does need help. Sometimes it's okay to raise a PR if their intent is to actually work on it. But it's a fine line, right? Like they may not, but then maybe, yeah, I don't know. We should keep talking about this. Any other one else want to raise anything? We probably should.
Yeah, I think yes. So I think I have one last point around references to the contributing guide to the agents.md. So maybe that is a good thing because some of the repos already have agents.md, which provide good instructions for agents, right, to work on.
Yeah.
So maybe we should have it here.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think should we standardize like every single project in Kubeflow have an agents.md?
I think we should. I mean, the content can be different, right? Because every project has a different structure.
Yeah,
But having the good agents.md, I think it's a must these days. But
That
yeah, it's
mainly just explains what's in the repo and where stuff is. That's
yeah,
probably the most
yeah,
important thing, right?
yeah. We have a very good examples for trying to run SDK already. So if you want to take a look, we can share it here.
I think that would be a policy for the reviewers, maybe, or something, rather than a policy for the. If we,
Yep.
I guess it depends. Again, I don't. Yeah. So I think the two things that yeah, let's keep working on this. Andre, how do you want to do next steps?
Yeah,
on
so
this?
how to move forward? Like, I think it was a question from Chase and from you, Matthew. Like, you want to keep this in community? Like,
Yes,
I
I mean, I
don't,
want people to raise
yeah,
their proposals, and then we do need to come to a KSC vote at some point.
but I think we should move fast here, first of all, because we need to have at least one policy as soon as we can, because like the amount of PRs and GSOC, it's crazy, right?
Okay, so then
So
what's the
it's,
minimum? Okay, then is there so the one
mhm.
the question then is what's the minimum policies that we could put here that we like we could add more in the future, but what's the minimum, right? I think it's these two, right?
Yeah, probably.
And that
I
and also
mean,
the last one we just
mhm.
talked about, which is if someone raises a review, you must respond authentically, not with AI. Right.
I think my question more about can we just move it to the website? Like, why do you want to keep it in community? Like, I
yeah.
understand it was concerns, right? Yeah.
I agree. We can put something on the website. Like, I don't know if you want to put the full policy on the website, but I think we should have like kind of like a full policy and a small stripped down version where we advertise it. We'll just like ask people, look at this, and if you want to read the full policy, go here and read it, which is 90% of people won't read it by all means,
Yeah, exactly.
and they will
The
Exactly.
just stick to
the
the small.
difference under I think is that we should have the consequences for not following the rules in this policy. Right?
Yeah,
Whereas,
but like again, my one question: why don't you put this to the Kubeflow.org? Like,
okay, you can also that's
like,
not what I'm talking about. I'm just saying that normally our
okay.
like governance documents, the official one is in the community repo. That's
Yeah,
all I was.
yeah, but I mean, for now, right? And we can talk later, like, whether we should want to move it to the community, like, because again, we need to kind of like have a decision, maybe like, sometime this week or next week, at least the initial version, right?
Okay, so
And we
like the
can
one
vote,
thing I
but
want
yeah.
to add then is if say we just did this one and some disclosure, like these three transparency ones are the first ones, right? It's not, well, this is not transparency, but these ones. And then we add one other rule, which is like if a maintainer thinks you're not doing this, there's no tolerance for this. Like it's an immediate ban from the repo. And then we have a policy of how you get unbanned, we need to have that.
Yeah, probably. So, so the next steps, right? Like, any concerns to start this in the website, like from a community folks here on the call, like, and we can start, adding comments to the SAT PR on the website, like, any concerns or
I don't expect we'll
objections.
change the policy that frequently, though. Just having the same content on both is
Yeah.
fine.
On this, just on the ban thing, really quickly. Sorry, Andre, for stepping in.
Yeah,
I think we shouldn't be banning people from first PRs that they raise. Maybe we just give them chance, maybe one or two PRs. If we think this is a repetitive offense or a repetitive thing that you do, maybe we can just give them a ban from a repo and then identify how you get back, how you will be able to raise PRs back again on the same repo if you want to in the future. But like not from the first time, because like there could be some people who don't know what they're talking about, or they don't know, like they didn't read the policies, they ignore the instructions. So first time could be like a gentle, okay, PR closed, you violated the policy, read it here. Second time, okay, you've done this before and we don't have capacity to tolerate, you're banned till you do 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, to apply it to prove it. And also I think another policy that we need to make is that the projects need to make it clear that the policy is there, right? In their repo, in their
Yeah,
contributing
for
guide.
every contributor.md should have a reference to this. But this is why again, I advocating to keep this doc on the Kubeflow.org because we already have a contributing guide there. And it's again, if you want to like Matthew like to vote, we can vote on this doc, like to have any changes or if you want to amend it, right? But I just don't want folks to have multiple places to read, right? And we already have contributing guide here. Yeah, Christian.
So I think the way to go is to have something on the website, maybe that includes those 2 points. And as soon as like a more formal policy has been written, then the website could be adapted. But I think, yeah, governance documents should be contained where governance documents are supposed to be.
Yeah, because
Yeah, I
I
think
don't
the
view the
problem.
contributing guide as a governance doc, by the way. I view that as more like a guide.
Yeah, exactly. Like me too. And the problem is like we have multiple docs on the Kubeflow.org and multiple docs on the community repo, and but the governments, yes, the main governance is here in the community repo right now, and
We could even
yeah.
have
So
a
anyway,
video
yeah.
explanation. Ramesh, you want to put your hand up? We do actually need to quickly talk about GSOC, I think.
Yeah, I was wondering if there is any recommendation from CNCF itself on this one. Maybe we can look into that and to adapt. But the one comment I want to leave is, this is use of AI based PRs is going to increase, but not going to decrease. So we should be looking at how we can include them then rather than punishing them going forward. I mean, in that regard, I mean, we need to put checks and balances, but think towards that.
Okay, I agree with that. Also, Andre, I just realized one thing. So that we can reference changes in versions of the policy more easily, I think it should be a README file in this repo. And then we can link, like, for example, I think AI contribution policy should probably be at the root of every single repo in the project, and with a link to this one.
Yeah, or contributing.md can link to this one.
Sure,
My only
whatever.
question, yeah, like anyway, like
and then because it's harder to version the website. That's kind of the reason I'm against doing it on the website.
I still like why
not
do we need to
having it.
version this? Like why do we need to have this complexity like for this doc?
Because
Like
it's a governance
I don't really
document. Every
understand.
version needs to be voted on, right?
Yeah, but this is contributing guide, right? It's like why?
This
Why?
one's
First
not.
of
This
all,
one's
why
a
does
policy.
it?
This one's actually a policy. Like, if we're gonna have rules around the process to be unbanned
Okay.
and banned, that's a policy, right? That's not.
Shall
That's a
we
big
like
deal.
do we really want to enforce this ban policy right now, or we can do this like a
There's
couple
a
of
couple of
months
people I would
or
like to block from some repos. Yes. And I currently can't do that.
okay. Yeah, I don't know. Like, because I think for this, maybe it's better to maybe have advice from CNCF, right? To have these actions, to ban some people and, or, if, or at least give us some advice from them, because I think it's different, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, like, yeah, like we don't have this policy, right? Like on like which kind of actions can lead
I mean,
you
we have a
to.
policy around like if you're abusive to someone, you get banned.
Yeah, but this is part of code of conduct, right?
But that's what I'd view. This is like a violation of our code of conduct to some extent, right?
Yeah, but if it is code of conduct, it should be part of code of conduct, not of part of AI contributing policy. It's different.
Okay, but like it's a different kind of. I agree. I agree. That's actually an interesting point, right? Maybe we're saying there's an AI code of conduct rather than AI policy.
Yeah, like, and we can also say like in a code of the conduct, like if you use, if you do XYZ, we can ban you, right?
Which
Like
is in
it's
here,
fine.
right?
But
this is
yeah. So yeah, this is not code of conduct. This is contributing guide.
Say, Ted.
Yeah. So it's just a quick question: Do we ban people who actually open just silly PRs? Like, let's say somebody keeps like opening silly PRs or like obsolete ones or whatever. Do we ban them or what do we do?
Usually people don't keep doing it. I have
Okay.
So I mean, I've worked with GitHub to get hundreds of people banned from the GitHub overall for raising crazy stuff against our repos. But it's normally like true spam, like someone's advertising their product or doing insane stuff. You know what I mean?
Oh,
So,
okay. Yeah. Yeah, it's different. Okay, cool.
Humans are different to like it's this. I think the reason I want to be able to limit someone's ability to raise pull requests is that it puts a burden on the maintainers and will increase. Like if someone has demonstrated they're not interested, the problem is that if it keeps happening at the scale it's happening, we need to have a very low tolerance to make it so that the maintainers don't get completely overwhelmed.
So I would I would suggest again moving this guide to the website, and if we want to enforce some rules for banning people, we should update the code of conduct because I think we can do this. Don't quote me on this, but I think we already have some rule like for any abusive harassment behavior, please contact KSC, right? So if you want to enforce more rules to the code of conduct, we should do this, but this should be separate.
I still think this versioned doc should be on this repo, and then we can have a summaried version on the website, or just the exact same text. I don't care. I think we want a place that we can link to the markdown.
So
in the other repos. Like, I don't want to link to the website I want a permanent link that'll work forever,
Yeah, but I mean, I don't understand like what is the problem of linking the website? We're already doing this for contributing guide. Like, we already have the main contributing guide on the website, right? And it's already there.
So I guess, but this is still a permanent link. We can do it the other way around, I guess, but yeah.
I mean, I would start with the website. If it doesn't work, we will always can create another one in the community repo. I just want to reduce the work for, for Sad and other people to, to synchronize this, at least for now, right?
Okay, that's fine as long as, well, we need to make the rule that people put in their own contributing guides, though, information.
Yeah. Like their own contributing guide, they can just link the website, right? We already do this.
Either way, content is more important. Let's keep discussing this. Okay, let's keep.
So where do you want to leave the comments for us?
Well, this PR seems like the reasonable place for now, right?
So then we'll leave the comments here, and Sad will open another PR on the website. Like,
it's fine for now. Let's just do it on this PR for now, and then we can update it on the website. Whatever. It's if we need a place, right?
Okay.
Or do you want another? Is there any other place?
I mean, yeah. I just don't think it's a good, reasonable, use of our time. But any other thoughts on this?
Well, we should quickly agree on the smallest amount of changes we can make to the policy to make it useful. Like, let's make. I mean, I don't mind if you want to. Okay, Andre, do you want to raise a pull request with like this content or with some amount of content on the website so that then you can do that? And
it's fine. I mean, like if others, I guess, like, do we have any objections from others, like on this? I know, Sat, you've been driving this. If you want to open this, you can also open this, and I will leave our comments there. It's fine. Like,
it's up to you. Like, if you want to do it, you can do it. If you want me, I can do it. Then no problem.
Okay. Yeah. So then I guess you can go ahead and open the PR, and we can leave the comments there.
And do you want the full content or just like?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we can discuss it there, like right in the PR.
Sure.
So
yeah. Cool. Okay. Sounds good. Don't link it in the thing once we're done. Okay, GSOC, we didn't quite get time to talk about. We're way over time. It's still happening. Any Ramesh, do you want to quickly say something? Sorry.
No new updates. I have sent the invitations to all the mentors. So if you have not received it, any new mentors have been asking for the emails. Few of them sent me their emails, and I sent the invitations to them. All the old previous mentors who did the last years, I also re-invited you. If you have not seen the email, it may be in your spam. If not, please accept that so that I just have the all the mentors registered with the GSOC. That really helps us with the number of slots we are going to get. They do look at the number of mentors we have available in the organization. Based on it, they will allocate. So please do that if you have not already accepted it. If you have not seen it, let me know, then I will resend it again. No problem.
Okay, so next steps are please check your emails and accept the invite to be a mentor. Any other next steps?
Yeah, I think we probably are already seeing a bunch of folks coming and asking for questions in the community. Help them as much you can, especially the mentors who who put your names on the project. In directing them, as to what the next steps are, how they can, how you can even help them with the proposals or just having the community. So some people are lost, and some people are already submitting PRs. I'm having to say that no, we can submit a PR. We have to go through a process and so on and so forth. So anything mentors you guys can help the students coming in, showing the right path, that would be great.
So I guess people, please, in your working group meetings, maybe make a small time for it if you're having people
right.
Working.
Yes, we mentioned that to the contributors that hey, if you are a student, go to the various community meetings and see which project, what you wanna put your proposals towards. So that's another one. I did have one question. If there is any way we could I know we already put it on the Slack, not on Slack, I'm sorry, on the LinkedIn and other websites in terms of evangelizing the GSOC. But if there is any place, we put in originally that we are going for the GSOC activity. But if there is anything else we can do to attract students,
we could flip. So we only have space for like 2 things here, but what we could do is make this smaller. And is the SDK survey still going, Andre?
Yeah, it's a good question. Sorry, like yeah, I think we will soon like Akash actually working on the blog post for the survey.
So if it's
yeah,
already
we
done,
still-
then what we can do is make this smaller like we did last time and not have an image here, I mean. And then put the
yeah, maybe
like
we
this
can maybe remove it.
link and then link this to the events page, because now that the events page is gone here, it's also really hard to find the events. So
yeah. Who can I reach out to for the LinkedIn?
so just look
kind
at the diff history on the, I think it's at
Okay.
the root of the repo. You should see a GSOC one there and just comment out or remove the SDK one and copy it back to what it was. And you might want to make this a bit smaller because this is also bumping the size of the thing, this one.
Okay, I'll look into that.
This also doesn't look that accessible, right? This is an image rather than a text. Anyway.
Oh, it is. What do you know?
Yeah, so normally this just says CN KubeCon, right? Rather than a photo. Okay, cool. Next steps then, anything else with GSOC?
Just brace for the Armageddon of applications, I guess. From starting applications open on March 16th, so it's not too far away. Yep, keep directing the students in the right direction. So until then.
Cool. Yeah, do you want to do that one, Ramesh, the GSOC banner?
The banner?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can take a look at it.
It should just be, it's in the history many times. And the only one that, I'm a little bit concerned about the image making it very hard to see, but I think the image can probably just, there's even an example of last year's KubeCon. I don't know if we could do that one too.
Yeah, I'll see if I can switch.
I think probably it was an LLMPR a bit. Okay. Anyway, let's move on. Any other things? We're pretty much way over time. I know there's outreach stuff that someone had to drop already. Tarek had to drop. KubeCon Europe is happening. Make sure you get your tickets if you haven't already. Anyone else got anything important before we close? Okay. Thanks, everyone.